Hey everyone, and welcome to my new home studio. Library's closed because of COVID-19, so I'm trying to make shift as I can with the light. I don't even know how to use natural light or the artificial light, so whatever. So now to the important part of the video, the German language challenge. As I was editing this video, I saw that there was a couple mistakes that I made or some things that I want to clarify a little bit more. So I thought I would watch the video with you guys and start making comments where I think I could further explain a point that I have or correct anything that I said. I'm still getting better and used to editing videos, so bear with me, and I really like to be able to look at the whole thing and then add things, because I know in the moment I try to be as prepared as I can, and even when I make the video and I think everything's in there, I'll watch it afterwards and not everything's in there. So as you watch, I'm gonna come back and give you different pointers, so enjoy the video. Now, before I tell you what my plan for it is, let me tell you right now that it is not gonna be a 24-hour, 2-week challenge where I try to cram in as much vocabulary as I can into my short-term memory and forget everything afterwards. I'm actually going to attempt to speak German and have conversations in German. I'm not gonna speak fluently after 1 month, but I aim to be at least a strong beginner and be able to do the final challenge that I'll tell you guys at the end of the video. The reason why I'm calling this a challenge is because I'm gonna be a little bit more diligent about my practice than I usually am with my other languages. Usually I try to listen to my mind as if I were working out my body, so if I feel like I'm overtraining or I'm doing too much, I kinda need to slow down, I will, or I feel like I'm not doing enough, I can also speed up. So my plan is to do at least 1 hour per day. If I don't feel like doing more than that 1 hour of intensive learning, then I'm not gonna do it. Now, would 5 hours be better than 1? Of course it'd be better. But would that be sustainable for me? Absolutely not. I will not study a language for 5 hours a day. Refuse to. For the month of April, I'm gonna try and be as consistent as possible with my German learning so you can kind of see the linear progression. This is why I'm calling it a challenge. So what's the point of this video and this German learning series? It is to show you how I tackle a language that I don't really know anything about. And by doing so, I hope to give you a game plan for you to tackle language in the future or to better progress in it. Another thing that I'm really hoping will teach you is to hit the like button, because I need the algorithm to not know that I have shitty lighting. Poopy lighting. This is a poopy. And yes, even in the commentary, I'm still trying to figure out the lighting. So I'm not gonna hire a tutor for this challenge, but I am gonna use as many resources as I can to make sure that I progress. My experience in learning languages to a higher level is with Romance languages. I've kind of dabbled in Norwegian and Japanese, but I don't feel like I have enough to kind of help me with a Germanic language such as German. So I don't really have any languages right now in my arsenal that will carry over to German, except for, of course, English. So that's why I'm kind of doing this challenge and trying to be as over-prepared as I can, and hopefully making the game plan that will work. So now I'm gonna go over my plan for learning and what the final challenge is. So where do I start? I start by seeing how much of the target language I already know. This step is mostly for learners that want to resurrect a language, so maybe they've studied in school, maybe they've heard it growing up, and so the first thing to do is really find out what their base is. If, like me, this is the first time that you're even touching this language, then this will probably not apply as much to you. So first, before I start, I want to see how much German I know. Of course, there's going to be cognates and false cognates. I hate when there's articles that say, oh, you already are halfway through German or Spanish because look at all these cognates. Whatever, doesn't mean you know the language. So forget the cognates and the false cognates. What do you actually know in this target language? So the good thing about these cognates is that they're gonna sound really alike because of their shared history. So an example of this is like in Spanish and English, active and activo, and positive and positivo. A false cognate is the opposite of cognate. It's basically there to make language learners' lives miserable. It takes two words in two different languages that sound very similar but have nothing to do with each other. So a good example of this is like in Spanish, éxito. You might think in English, well, it's pretty easy. It might mean exit. Wrong. That means success. Éxito is success. So that's why it's a false cognate. You're gonna think that, oh, I know that word. Not at all, and there's a lot of words like this. So be careful. So for me, what do I know in German? 1, I know it's considered a Category 2 by the Foreign Service Institute. This is for US government employees who have job needs in foreign countries, so that the difficulty is based on how closely related it is to English. So do I care that German is a Category 2 and most of the languages that I know are Category 1, so they're easier? No, I don't. It's good to be aware that it will be more difficult than the other languages and that there will be some complexity to the sentence structure or to the enunciation, but honestly, besides that, it doesn't matter. Just learn it. I really could care less if it's harder or not. If it's harder, then once I learn it, it's going to be even more rewarding. And you're not really allowed to decide how hard it is for you until you start. Because once you start and you go through it a little bit, that's when you can say, hey, I don't know if this is going to be worth my time. It's a little harder for me, or actually this is worth my time. It's actually, for me, easier than I thought. So, and for me, it's worthwhile. I'm having fun. So, doesn't matter if it's hard, just do it, just start. The point of this is also that I don't want you to psych yourself out from learning a language before you've even started. I hear a lot of people saying online and in person, oh, you're trying to learn Japanese, you're trying to learn Chinese, German, Arabic. My God, good luck. It's almost like you shouldn't even try if it's hard. And that's really sad because that pretty much in their mind means anything hard in this life, it's not really worth it. German, yeah, I heard it's really hard, not even worth it. No, don't psych yourself out. Don't listen to them. Try it anyways. Number 2, what do I know about German? I think there are 3 gendered articles. I think there's masculine, feminine, and neutral. I'm not sure what they are. Don't ask me. That's all I know for number 2. Number 3, words and sentences I know. I know nein, no, Fraulein, young woman, which I just learned might be sexist in Germany. I just read about it really quick because it means unmarried woman, allegedly. So glad to know that now. Ich bin Michael. I'm Michael. Ich spreche Sie Deutsch. I hope I'm conjugating the sprechen, which I'm guessing is talk or speak. Hallo, which is a very common hello for a lot of Germanic languages, and even French, for example. Guten Tag, Guten Morgen, good morning. Da, ja. I don't know how to say yes. So I think it's da or ja, I don't know. Maybe da is just Russian. I'm not sure. But that's all I know. That's what I'm starting with in German. So yes, it's not enough to know a conversation. So I'm going to consider myself knowing 0. Number 4, I know in German they have some kind of inverse switcheroo with their sentences. I know it's not as different as with Japanese, but it's enough to throw people off and have them complain about it. So now that we see that I have 0, null, nada to bring to German, starting from 0, what is my game plan? So, game plan, what am I doing? I am not starting with apps. That is the first thing I'm not going to do. I am not going to start a language learning app. This is really important. I know they can be helpful for some, but for me, they're really random in what they teach me. I know what I want to learn and I know when I want to learn it. So opening an app and having it make me practice things that I don't deem necessary is just going to waste my time. I'm looking at you, Duolingo. Don't teach me useless nouns. Just like Eddie Izzard, if you haven't seen his French-English routine, he talks about how learning the mouse is under the table never served him anything when he had to go to a hotel to ask for a room. It's really funny, you should go check it out. And in all seriousness, I really don't want to practice things that already come easy to me and not practice things that are a little bit harder for me, but maybe aren't harder for other people. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't use language learning apps. If you really don't have the time and you don't know how to set up your plan, they can be good. So I thought I heard a report by Duolingo saying that their biggest reason for losing members is demotivation and just simply getting bored, which is very interesting. I can't find that report now, so if anyone can find that, let me know, because I'm pretty sure I heard that. So my first resource I'm going to be using is a book called Language Hacking German by Benny Lewis. Benny Lewis is a polyglot that really inspired me to learn multiple languages. He's Irish, and he learned Spanish at an older age. I don't remember when. He learned all his languages at an older age, and I really agree with a lot of his language learning philosophy about talking to people as soon as you can. By utilizing his book, I know that I'm going to be able to learn things that I'm actually going to use. And this is for beginners. Beginners. I've already completed the first 20 pages a long time ago, so I don't remember any of it, but I remember it was fun, so I'm gonna do that. There's not that much to do on each page. There is sometimes, but not that much. It's not that thick, so I'm hoping to get maybe through half of it. I really don't want to rush my language learning. I really want to retain everything I have. I would rather only know 50% of German, but that 50% be really good, than know 100% of German and do it terribly. So if you didn't understand the analogy, just to drive it home, what I meant was that I would rather know 500 words really well and know how to use them than know 1,000 words double and not really know how to use them. So since I plan to use this book for the whole month, I'm really going to focus on it for the first week or two while I'm looking for a language partner online. Obviously, with everyone being quarantined because of COVID-19, I'm going to be looking for internet-based language partners. I'm going to first start with italki, see if I can find anyone that's a good fit for me, and hopefully start talking to them by the end of week 2. Start of week 3. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of questions that I have about the grammar and about different things related to the language. And what I'm going to do for that is simply search the internet. If I have a question, I'm going to look it up. There's so many resources online. That's one of the hard parts of learning a language right now. It's almost like in fitness. It's not that we don't have enough information, it's that there's information overload. So there is so much information you don't know where to start. So if I do have a question, I'm going to simply go to the internet, get that question answered really quick, and then probably jot it down on my laptop or in a notebook so I can reference it later. I'm also going to search for German podcasts that I can listen to for beginners. Right now, what I really need is to just hear as much German as I can. I need to hear the rhythm, the intonation. For right now, as a beginner, I need to hear it as much as I can. I'm not going to be able to get that practice from a language partner because we're both going to be speaking right now. All I need to do is just listen. So I've already started listening to the podcast and it is so helpful. I can really see the pronunciation because the German language is a language that I haven't had a lot of experience with. There are sounds that I didn't know even existed. So I'm listening to it, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that these sounds were in the German vernacular. So it's interesting to see it, and it's really nice to just hear them talk and hear the pronunciation. I'm honestly probably not going to know where one word ends and one begins, but turns out, at least about German, I don't have to worry about that. I thought it was going to be more like French where the words kind of like meld into each other. In German, it's really, at least from my experience so far, listening to a couple podcasts, it's really easy to see where one word begins and one ends. The hard part is knowing what the word means. But at least you know that they're separate individual words. For me, it's really important that while I listen to this podcast, it's not a passive listening. I'm not kind of putting the earbuds in and cleaning or doing different things. I'm sitting down and I'm either jotting down what I'm hearing or I'm just literally sitting down and listening. Or I really like going for walks while listening to the podcast, which is a really good alternative if you don't want to just sit there and listen. I feel like I know my route, so I can just walk and just listen and at least get some exercise, get some fresh air, and nothing's distracting me. I can give my 100% attention to the language and still be able to at least burn some calories, get some exercise in. One of the things that I've heard a lot of people say is that, hey, I just kind of turn on the French radio or I turn on the Spanish whatever podcast and I kind of listen to it in the background. That does absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why? Multitasking is simply putting your attention on one thing and then another as quickly as possible. When you're putting that passive podcast in the background, you're going to be focusing on what's ahead of you, and maybe sometimes you'll listen, oh yeah, it is Spanish, and then go back to your objective. You're not going to learn anything from it. Do not passive learn. You should be active learning. And the last resource I'm going to use is called LinkQ. It's a website by Steve Kaufman. He's a polyglot on YouTube. You should go check him out. He's really cool. And I'm going to use it because I've kind of played around with the free version for a little bit and it looks really fun and I need all the resources I can, so why not? As prepared as I can be, I'm going to use it for 1 month. I'll tell you guys if I like it or not. So just want to make sure that you know that LinkQ, at least from my knowledge, is not a passive app. From what I know, you get to choose the words that you don't know, the text, the vocabulary. So it's a very active experience, just so you don't think that I'm setting up for a passive app after I told you not to do that. I'm really trying to be over prepared, but also not spend a lot. Right now, I want to use resources that are almost free or not more than $20 a month. So if you guys want to use them, you can too. So financially, it shouldn't be a problem to learn a language. So what do I think my state of mind is going to be during this language learning? I think for me, this is really important. If there's highs and lows to language learning. So I think for the first 2 weeks, I'm just going to be on a language high. I'm just going to be like learning new words, learning new sentences. I'm going to be like, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm almost sounding German. This is so cool. I'm just going to be riding that wave all the way up until I hit that wall because you can't go that fast and it starts to plateau. And this is an important part because since you're not going up, you're just plateauing, you're gonna feel like you're regressing because the progress was so fast. So you're plateauing because it's starting to get harder and you can't just keep learning, or we'd all be speaking German in 2 months, which is not the case. So you're gonna plateau, it's gonna be a little bit harder. And once you maintain this plateau and you keep learning, eventually you will start to go up again. So just to reiterate, if we learn like at the beginning, which is really fast, and point A was being a beginner and point B is being fluent, we would go straight there in a matter of a couple of weeks. We need to plateau because if not, everyone would know Japanese in a couple months. So this can happen usually when you're going from beginner to intermediate and intermediate to advanced. Those places between the levels are really big places for plateaus, even though plateaus can happen anywhere. Plateaus can happen inside the beginner level, inside the intermediate level, inside the advanced level. Inside the intermediate level is a really big place to plateau because there's different levels inside the intermediate level. I hope that makes sense. So this happens because usually we get a little bit greedy. We're like, oh my God, I'm so good at this language. You keep going and you're like, bring it on. I don't need the beginner stuff. I need the intermediate. And then you feel really bad about yourself when you're like, oh wow, I really only need the beginning. So at least for me, I feel like I'm going to see this coming a long ways away because it's happened to me so many times. So I'm going to be good with that. But I'm honestly, at least since it's a 1-month challenge, I'm going to try and ride this language high as long as I can before it gets to plateauing. In a future video, I will talk about what to do when you plateau so you don't feel demotivated and quit. And lastly, this is hard for me to admit. Honestly, I'm going to want to use an app because I know that it's a lot easier to just log on and just do what it says. It's very passive. It's like, I want the banana. Oh, I know that one. And you just keep going. And it feels good. It's like kind of doping. They did a good job. They gamify it. It's really good. But it's passive learning. And if I'm only going to spend 1 to 2 hours every day, I cannot be passive learning. I need to be active learning. And active learning is a lot harder than passive learning. So I'm going to try and avoid the apps, and I'm going to try and avoid passive learning. Like, for example, if I did Duolingo for an hour, I'd feel maybe a little bit tired, but honestly, I feel good. Okay, cool. I practiced learning German. That went awesome. If I did active learning, I usually feel bad about myself because it's active and you're trying to figure it out and your brain's going 100%. And honestly, after the 1 to 2 hours, I'm gonna feel so tired. So I prefer active learning. I remember when I went to Belgium to try to learn French, and I remember after 6 hours of being about trying to understand people speak French, not being able to, I would literally come home after 6 hours and just go to bed because I was so tired because the intensity was so high. There was so much pressure that I would just be down. But those days that I didn't go out and I was just trying to learn French at home, I'd be fine. Like I could study for like a good 12 hours because I wasn't really studying. I'd kind of put it in the background, didn't really work. I'd put it on the TV and kind of do something else. So it really teaches you what the intensity does to your body and your mind and how much rest you need afterwards. So final challenge. You made it to the end of the video. So what is my final challenge? For me, the final challenge will be a video call with a native German speaker where I will speak with them for 5 minutes uninterrupted. No editing, it will just start and it will go. It won't be a 5-minute monologue, so it won't just be me talking. It will be kind of like a back and forth, but I will try to speak as much as I can. I'm definitely gonna focus on the present, maybe some past if I can, maybe a little bit of future, but I'm just gonna try and speak in the present for right now. I only have a month, and I'm gonna try my best to speak present well, and whatever target language you have should be a 5-minute uninterrupted video Skype call. I'm already nervous thinking about a 5-minute conversation in German in exactly 1 month, but if you're trying to do this too, you can make your challenge whatever you want it to be. I think a 5-minute conversation is good in your target language, but of course you can pick if you want a 3-minute one, a 10-minute one, it's up to you. If you always wanted to learn a language, try this challenge. I'm doing it for the month of April 2020. If you're doing it during a different month, go ahead, now's the time, just start. There's no use in waiting. I know a lot of people are at home, they have more time than usual. This is the perfect time. Let me know what your target language is in the comments below. I'll talk to you guys about it. I'd love to know what kind of languages you guys are studying. And one final comment from me is I do want to be clear that I'm releasing this on April 11th. So it is not April 1st, so I'm not gonna have the full month. The reason why it took me so long is because I'm new to YouTube and it's taking me forever to edit the videos and kind of find my style and see what works and what doesn't. This has pretty much been a journey of what not to do. So I'm hoping that eventually the path of what to do is going to show itself between the failures. But I'm excited to do this anyway. So I started, I think, around April 7th. So I haven't had too much time, but I've tried to document as much as I can. So I'm gonna actually have 3 weeks to do it, which is fine with me. I'm excited to do it. It's a challenge. I'm excited. I wanna do it anyways. And I want you guys to do it too. Even if it's not the full month, I think it'll be fun. And if not, you can wait until next month and do it. This is a learning experience. I'm excited to do it anyways, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the video. And I will see you again in the next commentary for the next video. Remember, hit subscribe if you want more of these videos. Next one's gonna be about grammar. It's not gonna be boring grammar. It's gonna be good grammar. It's gonna be fun. And so let me know. Good luck with your language learning. I'll try to update you guys as much as I can with my language learning. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram too. I'm gonna put a bunch of updates on there. And until next time, peace out.